Hello, 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 hello. Y'all, I'm here. This is when I tell you this is an impromptu live, this is an impromptu live. So as you all come in, as you all come on in, make sure you all hit that like button. This is a very impromptu. What's up? What's up? What's up? I don't have anything really programmed to talk about. Nothing programmed at all. Let's chat. I do want to go over. Again, this is not a programmed live, but there's some things I wanted to go over just because I'm up and I want to get some things out. So listen, let's do this first. I want to go over because this video came out and it was causing a lot of stir about uh, Jonathan Majors being in the MCU. And so I'm going to read this. I'm going to show this video and then we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to also read an article that Kevin Feige had put information on. And so let me go over this video. Let me share my screen. Now, this is a particular interview that was done between um, Jonathan Majors at some award show or some place, and the interviewer asked him a question about being Kang. So let's listen to what he says. And then, because this ignited a lot of people believing that, hey, he might be coming back to the MCU. Now, we have heard this rumor for probably about what? A good 6 months to a year. My Time to Shine has mentioned this a couple of times. My Time to Shine has also mentioned a couple of times about Cynthia Erivo playing Storm, and I don't know how many times that My Time to Shine is going to enter the is going to ask that same question and get, and if I think she's looking for a different result. So let's go in and listen to what they say, what Jonathan says, and then we'll come back and go over the article or portions of this article that Kevin Feige made.
Some rumors that you're making a big Marvel return. Can you say anything about that? You cannot say, but there potentially might be a King. Well, for you, a future King project in the works. He was not that type of, he not my man. I'm not his type. A lot of opportunities for you to come back. A lot of people would be excited to see it. So.
And so we noticed that because everybody was kind of honing in on Megan Good's. Everybody was kind of honing in on Megan Good's reaction, her facial expressions, and things like that. People were pretty much honing in on that and thinking, oh, that there might be Kang might be coming back into Marvel. There are talks. Now, I wanted to go over after you've watched that video. I want to go over what Kevin Feige said. Now, this was an interview I believe he did with the Nerdist back in July of 2025. And it says here, and we'll read this. Next year, Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom will play the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men. Excuse me. Next year, Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom will do battle with the Avengers in the Fantastic Four and the X-Men in Avengers Doomsday. But for a long time, the MCU's multiverse saga was going to showcase Kang the Conqueror as the big bad. Then a couple of things happened. First, Kang the Conqueror's actor Jonathan Majors was faced with a host of legal troubles. Then, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania underperformed at the box office. Now, let's get to this underperforming. Now, Quantumania, Ant Man and the Wasp, Quantumania didn't pull $1 billion as if like Marvel believes that they always should be pulling. I'm gonna go to. So they pulled in a $476 million. That's how much Ant Man Quantumania pulled in. And they said that their budget was $326 million. And they broke it down that in pre-production they did $194 million, post-production they did $131 million, total production cost was $326 million. And I think that that has a lot to do with the way Marvel does movies. Marvel doesn't commit to a script. They continue to rewrite and rewrite scripts as they go along. And I think that that has a lot to do with this pre-production and filming cost, because you're paying all these people to rewrite and rewrite instead of having them sit down and write a script, and you sticking with that particular script and stop trying to rewrite and re-edit all these different things to fit certain narratives. So they, again, let's go back to this article. They believe that they underperformed. Then Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania underperformed at the box office. Not long after, Marvel shifted gears and Doom became the main villain. So with all the legal troubles that Jonathan Major was going to, when Ant-Man and the Wasp underperformed at the box office. Now that had a lot to do with the script, the storyline. It had a lot to do with the main characters of Ant-Man and the Wasp that didn't really carry the film. If you let me tell it, Michelle Pfeiffer and Jonathan Majors was the one that made that film compelling, but the stories that they had surrounding that was not, because Scott Lang was supposed to be the main lead because he was Scott Lang is Ant-Man, and the Wasp was there. Their information and their stuff wasn't as compelling as their relationship wasn't as compelling as the relationship between Michelle Pfeiffer's character and Jonathan Majors' character. And so when that happened, and also too, who says, let's read what he says, and this is what he said to the Hollywood Reporter. We had started even before what had happened to the actor Jonathan Majors happened. We had started to realize that Kang wasn't big enough. So even before Jonathan Majors had any problems legally, Kevin Feige is saying that they were trying to pivot to Doctor Doom. Because again, they got excited about Jonathan Majors and his portrayal of He Who Remains. And from them being excited about that character, He Who Remains, they wanted to then build uh, Avengers around the Kang dynasty. So even before he got into any trouble, they were wanting to pivot to Doomsday. Which leads to me, why didn't they do that in the first place? Because again, my comic book people have said that in that whole Doomsday arc and things in the comics, yes, Doctor Doom was there. Also, Kang was there. They were battling things out. All of these different things were going on, and Kevin Feige admits that with the Fox acquisition and all of this, they had all the people, they had everything necessary so that they could do a Doomsday Battle World, I think is what it's called in the comics, type situation in there. And they were not looking at Kang at that time. And again, Kevin Feige's word, even before Jonathan Major got into any trouble, they were already trying to pivot to make, because they didn't believe that Kang was the bigger bad. They believed that Doctor Doom was the big bad. They believed that Doctor Doom was on Thanos' level of big bad. Now, again, my opinion, the problem with Marvel is the fact that when they write these scripts, they don't commit to the script, or they do not have people at the caliber that is needed to be able to write a compelling script. And they also don't want to go back to the source material. They're trying to wing it as they go. And we can tell. Because if you look at a few of the movies and a few of the television series that have come out, now, will I tell you that all of them sucked? No. There were some of them that I did enjoy. But overall, probably in the past 3 to about 3 years, they've been hit or miss on their movies. Marvel has just been hit or miss. But you let me tell it, until you do right by recasting T'Challa, everything you do over there at Marvel is going to fail. You let me tell it. And it's pretty much indicative of all of that. Now, would the Russo brothers be able to turn it around? I don't know. I'm expecting Infinity Wars and Endgame level performances from the Russo brothers. I believe that they can do that. But I don't know. Because again, Marvel has been hit or miss in the past, what? 3 years, 3 to 4 years, they've been hit or miss. But let's continue. Let me get through this whole story. Uh, because of the Fox acquisition, and I think that was 2018 or 2019, we finally had it, and it was Doctor Doom. So we had started talking about Doctor Doom even before we officially pivoted from Kang. And in fact, I had started talking with Robert Downey Jr. about this audacious idea before Ant-Man 3 even came about. You truly didn't need Ant-Man. You truly didn't. You could have found ways to pivot the Kang character from Loki. You really truly did not need Ant-Man and the Wasp for that. You could have definitely found another venue. You could have definitely found another way in to pivot into that Kang character besides Ant-Man and Quantumania. Truly. But again, this is Kevin Feige saying that we were talking about pivoting even before Ant-Man Quantumania became a thing, before they even wrote a line for that script. So when we go back and we listen to this,
We're making a big Marvel return. Can you say anything about that? You cannot say, but there potentially might be a Kang.
now watch Megan Good, because I think everybody is looking at Megan Good Majors and her face as if it's confirmation that something is going to come up.
Well, for you, a future Kang project in the works. A lot of opportunities for you to come back. A lot of people would be excited to see it. So last week there was.
So everyone is looking at her facial expressions. Oh, I'm so sorry. Y'all didn't see none of that. Let me go back.
Some rumors that you were making a big Marvel return. Can you say anything about that? You cannot say, but there potentially might be a Kang. Well, for you, a future Kang project in the works. A lot of opportunities for you to come back. A lot of people would be excited to see it.
So everyone was looking at this particular interview, and he basically said, he was just basically being coy. He couldn't say anything about it if anybody was going to call him back. Because again, you remember in December, he was directly fired by Marvel and Disney for his conviction. I do understand and know that he wrote a letter to Kevin Feige. He hasn't mentioned, or no one has asked him whether Kevin Feige responded to the letter that he wrote. And then you have this interview that Kevin Feige did with the Hollywood Reporter, basically saying that they had pivoted from Kang even before Jonathan got into all of that trouble up in New York. Now, hear what I just said. They had pivoted, according to this article that Kevin Feige did with the Hollywood Reporter. They had pivoted away from the Kang character prior to them learning and knowing anything about his legal troubles in the state of New York. So when I look at this video and juxtapose it with this interview that Kevin Feige has done, I don't have hopes that Jonathan Majors is coming back into the MCU. I know that you all fixated on Megan Good's face and her coyness in regards to all of that. But I don't think that that Jonathan Majors is going to come back. Now, if the Russo brothers, because they have cachet in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if they say that they need Kang in the story that they're telling, I, I think that they will definitely get Jonathan Majors. But I haven't heard anything saying that they need Kang in this storyline. And the way that Marvel likes to swap origin stories for different characters and things like that, they can swap whatever Kang did in the comics, they can swap that for somebody else and then make it canon. So again, what I would say on this, and I've said this before, I unless the Russo brothers come out and say, "Hey, we need Kang for this story," I'm not believing that he's coming back into the MCU. And here are the ancillary reasons why I don't believe he's coming back. Number one, these are the same people that are willfully refusing to recast T'Challa. These are also the same people who have had Blade in developmental hell since 2019. Do you honestly think that from all of those ancillary problems that they're having, that could be resolved, but they're choosing not to resolve? There's no way to make me believe that Kang is going to come back to the MCU. There's just no way that you're going to make me believe that. Not in the iteration that it is, and not with Jonathan Majors. If they choose to do another character to play Kang, all well and good. But I don't believe that they're going to come back. True. And even now, hey William, even now, people are talking about Kang, and even with when you're talking about Doomsday and all of this other stuff, people are talking about Kang because again, comic book people, y'all chime in. Wasn't Black Panther, T'Challa in this Doomsday comic? Wasn't Kang all in there too? But again, the MCU does what the MCU wants. And again, they have paid Robert Downey Jr. hundreds of millions of dollars to play this role. It would have to take Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers sitting down together with Kevin Feige and saying, we need these characters in our story to be able to tell our story. That is the only way that they're going to get in there. Whether we like it or not, that's just the way it is. I don't believe it either. I don't believe it's coming out with Mahershala Ali as the lead. Let me tell it. They're looking for the younger, cheaper option. And also, too, I don't think that Marvel is really invested in Black lead characters that are positive, that are not out here selling drugs, that are not out here with baby mamas, they're not out here with those bias type visuals. They're not really interested unless it has those bias type visuals. And I'm just going to leave it there in regards to this. So what do y'all think about that? Again, this is an impromptu live, and I'm all over the place with the topics that I'm discussing today. But I did want to talk about this particular topic because this interests me because I didn't understand. But let me get to this quick topic real quick. This is coming off my Instagram because I'm just scrolling along my social media. Y'all's presidents wants to release everything but those Epstein files. Who asked for all the information on Amelia Earhart? What kind of quote unquote secret information do you have on Amelia Earhart? And my question is, who is caring? Because there have been documentaries after documentaries after documentaries that even talked about information that was also declassified about Amelia Earhart and her last run. Who is really caring about this? Who? I found this to be really crazy. Trump demands the release of the Amelia Earhart files about her disappearance. Why? Honestly, who has mentioned this? Who said this? Anything to distract from the Epstein files. Anything to distract from us looking at those files. Who were these people that those underage children were trafficked to service? You don't want to talk about those people. But this is a story that's interested me because, again, when you talk about what's going on in regards to the Trump administration and ICE and deportation, I came across this story. Head of Iowa school district arrested for avoiding deportation, found with handgun after a chase. Hmm. Hmm. And so we're going to first go in. Who is Ian Roberts? This is Ian Roberts. Now, Ian Roberts, again, is the superintendent of the Iowa school system. And he was picked up by ICE on Friday, which was yesterday. He was picked up. Now, people were talking about, the initial news story on this was, why did they pick up a Black American? He's American. And why did he pick him up? We find out that hasn't gone through the whole process yet. And so he is the superintendent of Iowa's thing. A year into his tenure as superintendent of Iowa's largest school district, former Olympian Ian Roberts made headlines when, in a maroon three-piece suit, candy cane striped bow tie, and matching Nike Air Force Ones, he ran a 100-meter dash against some of his elementary school students. An 11-year-old crossed the finish line a few steps of Roberts, who represented Guyana in the 800 meters in the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney. It was a small but unforgettable lesson. He raced as an Olympian. Friday, I'm just skipping through this CNN article. On Friday, the popular superintendent of Des Moines, Iowa public schools again made headlines after he was detained by immigration officers, according to the Department of Homeland Security, which claims he's in the country illegally and has weapons possession charges. For Robert's colleagues of more than 30,000 students he oversaw and their parents, the episode offered another unforgettable lesson, a close-up look at the Trump administration's unrelenting crackdown on immigration. So currently he's in a county jail, and they're going to transport him to an ICE facility. So here is the issue that I'm understanding what's going on. His parents, he and his parents immigrated to the United States. His immigration information and his immigration status has not been verified, or he has not completed the process. Visas have probably run out and all of these different things. So therefore, they are deeming him to be illegal here. What's interesting to me is I read a story where they had picked him up initially or tried to pick him up, but he ran from the authorities. Now, this I think that this was prior to Trump coming into office. He's got a lot of people who are protesting on his behalf, which is good for him. Again, this live is not really scripted. These are just stories that caught my attention, and I was like, let me just go on live and talk about it. Okay, here we go, because I was trying to find it. It says Roberts entered the U.S. on a student visa in 1999. He graduated with a bachelor's degree from Coppin State University in Maryland, and according to his bio on the district website, Coppin is where he was inducted this year to the Sports Hall of Fame. Robert was the college's first men's NCAA All American in any sport. He was also the first Olympic athlete. Roberts later got a master's degree from St. John's University in New York. And just a little trivia: St. John's University was where Run DMC, what's his name? The one that became the preacher. That's the one. He went to St. John's University and Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. He's married and he enjoys hunting. He had existing weapon charges from 2020 and was given a final order of removal by an immigration judge in May of 2024. The school district and DHS presented starkly divergent portraits of Roberts. DHS described him as a criminal alien and suggested he was a public safety threat. But a news conference after his arrest, board president of Des Moines Public Schools, Jackie Norris, said the superintendent was an integral part of our school community who has shown up in ways big and small for students and staff. The Iowa Board of Education examiner issued Roberts a license to serve as superintendent in the state in July 2023. Roberts disclosed his weapons charges relating to a hunting rifle when he was hired. The superintendent was arrested as part of a targeted enforcement operation and fled after U.S. Immigration and Customs officers approached him, according to the statements from DHS and the Iowa Department of Public Safety. DHS says that he was in possession of a loaded gun. Now, remember, he already had a charge back in 2024 in regard to this. So now he continues to have a loaded gun and $3,000 in cash and a fixed blade hunting rifle at the time of his arrest. It's in violation of federal law to own a firearm and ammunition if an individual doesn't have legal status in the United States. Now, what case that I have covered has that been an issue? Because until you get your full citizenship, it is illegal for you to have firearms. What case have I covered where this has been an issue? Anybody in the chat? Probably so. But then again, any case, anybody want to take a gander about which case that I've covered that has this issue in time or where this person has been convicted of 10 years in state prison? for having a weapon? So I'm gonna put it in the chat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who was it? Tory Lanez. Cam, what are you talking about? Tory Lanez is a Canadian citizen. It was illegal for him to be in possession of a firearm when he shot at Megan Thee Stallion talking about dance, bitch, dance. If you have not had your citizenship and all of those things completed and you've been naturalized, it is illegal for you to own, handle, be in possession of a weapon. I don't make the rules. It just is what it is. So he is facing deportation back to Guyana because again, that is the thing that these people come um, on student visas. These people come over when their parents are coming to be naturalized, and for whatever reason they have fallen through the cracks. Whatever it is, he is about to be deported. Now, if you have been following, you know that in the first of this year, President Donald Trump had talked about making sure that he was ramping up deportation. And you had a lot of naturalized citizens who voted for him and then seemed to be shocked that their loved ones, because they knew good and well when they voted for Donald Trump, that Abuelita, Mima, Grandma, Grandmama, Grandmère, whatever they call them, they were not legalized citizens. They knew that. They hadn't finished the process. But somehow people believe that it was going to be everybody else but them. So this is it. That was just an interesting story that I came across. Uh, just an interesting story that came across. And now here's a story that's interesting. And again, I had to pull this up because I found this interesting. Because the Congress is wanting to release the Epstein files. And apparently, in order for them to release these Epstein files, they have to have 218 Congress people to vote yes to release them. And they only have 217. Right? So then there is a congressperson who had been elected via a special election. And this person is named Adelita Grijalva. Grijalva. She's part concerns because they won't swear her in. The Congress is not wanting to swear her in, y'all, because that would make the 218th vote to release the Epstein files. I do know why. But it is to the point where it's looking like Keystone Cops, and it's just damn ridiculous that they won't go ahead and release those files. And the reason that I believe that they won't release those files, because some of y'all faves are in those files. It doesn't matter if they were Democrat, it doesn't matter if they were a Republican, and it doesn't matter if they were independent. Some of your faves are in those files. To what capacity, we don't know. But just being in those files has a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. William Maltz says that the problem with the Epstein files is that our whole government probably close to someone on that list. Exactly. Oh, you're so right. You can't make me believe, because listen to this. Bill Clinton is probably in those files. They even talked about, and all this is allegedly. Bill Clinton is in these files. They say Chris Tucker is in these files. To what capacity, I don't know. They just talked about earlier yesterday, the Elon Musk name came up in these files. Probably several former and possibly present congressmen, and that's on both sides of the House. Both sides, from the House and the Senate, are probably in these files. President is probably in these files. Business people are probably in these files. What's the problem? I remember a few weeks ago, and it may have been maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago, you had the victims come out and say that they were going to name the people who were in these files. And you see subsequently they've been silenced, because I hadn't heard anything else from them. We talked about the pruning from the timeline of CK over there in Utah, but we hadn't had anything else about those particular victims that had testified before Congress. But this is interesting. Now, she's a Democrat who won a special election to fill the seat left vacant by the death of Representative Raul. I guess it must have been her husband, because they have the same last name. Her victory margin was reportedly wide, and the results are not in dispute. Democratic sources claim that the Speaker Johnsons are refusing to swear in Grijalva. The potential motive is that Representative Yasmin Ansar has speculated that the delay is intended to block Grijalva from signing a discharge petition to release the files of Jeffrey Epstein. And the Speaker of the House hasn't responded to anything. So they have not sworn her in, but she has been duly elected in a special election. My. William says Chris Tucker was in the Netflix documentary about it. My. My. Of course they are. And this is the thing that we're gonna go ahead and just pivot from that. And then when you talk about this, you're talking about the new tax laws and deductions. If you are in poverty, lower middle class, up until you start reaching the hundreds of thousands of dollars, you all are going to see anywhere from a 10 to 25, almost a 25% increase in your taxes. However, if you are part of the 1%, you're going to see probably about almost a 37, almost a 36% decrease in your taxes. They definitely don't want her in there in all of this. Just a mess. So again, I told y'all this was impromptu. So I am literally going through my social media, and if there's something that's coming up, I'm just going to talk about it. Looks like Young Thug has a new album out. Why is he looking like a bleached black man on the front of this album? If you all listen to Young Thug, because I did follow all of the Young Thug jail calls that came out. If you're someone that listens to Young Thug, what do you think about this new album? He is not in my purview of somebody that I listen to, but I am interested to hear what you all believe. I knew he existed, but I've never heard of his music. And I knew he did a couple of songs with Drake. He is in that category of mumble rappers to me. So I just never, because when I look at uh, uh, my rap range, the lowest it goes is as far as with coming in is Lil Wayne. And I won't tell you that I'm familiar with a lot of stuff with Lil Wayne, but he's probably the last one that I really paid attention to. But everybody else behind Lil Wayne, I don't really know. I know the Nicki Minaj's of the world. I know of the I know of Drake, but I'm not someone that listens to a lot of his music. Again, I'm combing the my social media. I see that Trump is really working on the fact to get Oracle and Rupert Murdoch and a couple of other uh, companies to purchase TikTok. Now they haven't said or figured out whether or not TikTok is going to be the new iteration of TikTok is going to be worldwide or not. I'm not really sure, but it is of I am of my opinion. William says, I just found out he was in that meme where he was showing the other guy something on the computer. And in his words, whoop de doo, whoop de doo. All those little jailhouse leaks a couple of weeks kind of dominated the news cycle. So I'm over here on X and reading Cosmic Marvel, and it says that the MCU reset will reportedly involve the resurrection of certain heroes and villains. Which heroes need to be resurrected? Which villains need to be resurrected? It will relay some minor events that have bothered fans and Kevin Feige. The timeline will remain 75 to 80% the same with only minor changes. I wonder what those minor changes would be. You think they're going to resurrect Black Panther? That's going to be interesting. Now, I did do a video in regards to Diddy and his last court hearing that was done yesterday on my birthday. Y'all go check that out. I'm interested to know, since I've got you all in the chat, what do you think his sentencing going to be? What do you think his is going to be? Now, I think because of the fact that he was convicted on two charges of the Mann Act, I think that they're going to give him at least 4 years. His attorneys is wanting 14 months, and then he gets time served and then he leaves. I don't think the judge is going to do that, but we will see. We will see, child. Now, I'm not going to hit on it too much because I'm going to do another live in regards to how many of you all are following this David singer and them finding a decomposing body in the front trunk of his Tesla car. Are y'all familiar with that? Let me know down in the comments. Everyone says he said David is a clown. Now, if you're not familiar with this particular case, back on the 7th or 8th of September, a car was impounded, and when it was impounded, the workers at the impound lodge noticed that there was a smell. Uh, 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 because if you've ever smelled anything that was decomposing, that is a very succinct smell, and in my opinion, it doesn't matter whether the decomposing is human or whether it's animal. It still has that same type of smell to me. Just slightly different, but it still has that same type of smell. And when that car was in the impound, they opened the trunk and they saw a bag with decomposing uh, body. The coroner did an investigation. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna have to turn my camera off just a second. The coroner did an investigation, or they did an autopsy, and for whatever reason, they were able to find that this particular body belonged to a 15-year-old teenager named Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and that she was connected to the singer songwriter and TikTok extraordinaire named David. And he spells his name as professionally with D4BD. That's how his name is spelled. Right? So there's been a lot of information and a lot of stuff going on with him because they found the body in this trunk while he was on tour. He kept on with his tour, but I guess as the police wanted to talk with him and with some answers and things like that, he went ahead and canceled the tour. His record label also canceled the deluxe album of his current hit album, which is called Withered. So there's just been a lot of back and forth in regards to the information that's been coming out. And the speculation, in my opinion, has been tamped down because the coroner has not written an actual cause of death. Now, we knew, while we are making the assumption that she died via homicide, the coroner has not released that information as of yet. So there's just a lot of different things swirling. Now, one of the things in regards to David and Celeste is that at the time that he met her when he was what? 17 or 18 years old. She was like 11 or 12. And somehow, some way, they, as far as, and all of this is alleged, because again, the police have not come out and they have confirmed a lot of this information. So let me tell you the information that's confirmed in regards to the police: that they impounded the car. They still have the car in custody with them. There was an autopsy completed on the body, and currently the body has been released back to the family. There has been a candlelight vigil for Celeste, because she comes from Lake Elsinore, and that is, I think, is in Riverside County in California. There has been vigils on that, and that the again the body has been released to the family. Also, the police conducted a search warrant on the residence that the car was parked near. And what we find out is that David was living in that home. The home was leased by his manager. And there are several different videos floating around on TikTok, Instagram, where he has had several people go into his house. Most notably, Benny, I want to say Benny Bravo. I can't think what it, but Selena Gomez's betrothed. Selena Gomez's fiance. He had been in the house, and he has also worked with David on some things. Uh, where am I? Where am I? Hey, Andre. Yes, I was going to get into that after I go over the confirmed information. So it was confirmed that in the beginning that David was working and cooperating with the police, and he has since stopped, because again, you do have the right to remain silent, and maybe he is exercising that right to remain silent. But one of the things, and I think that's the last thing that we can confirm, that the police, they're also awaiting, the police, the coroner's office is waiting for the toxicology report. So therefore, they're not listing a cause of death until they get all the information in. There were stories out that say that this young lady was dismembered, but from what I understand is they're trying to quantify when she was put in this trunk, or frunk as they would call it, because in this model of Tesla the trunk is actually in the front. They are trying to break down or the time of when she became deceased, and they're also trying to ascertain who put her in the car after she was deceased. Now, they talked about dismemberment, but from the information that I have received, and I'm trying to debunk as much, is the fact that her body had decomposed to the level where things were not staying attached. And this is pretty much stated because they were able to identify certain tattoos that this child had, and they were also to say what was the outfit that she had on her demise. So it's a whole lot of with this case. There's a whole lot of stuff, and again, there are things that have not been confirmed. I am going to do a video. I had planned to do the video on Thursday until I kind of reconciled the fact that that was my birthday, and I wasn't going to be talking about that particular kind of topic on my birthday. So I'm definitely going to reschedule. But what I want to talk about is how all of these systems failed Celeste. And we will definitely go in and talk about, because I'm going to make sure I spend today and tomorrow going back over the information that I want to do it, and get back with the panel that I want to be on my panel. And we are definitely going to talk about it. There's a lot of speculations and things going on out here. It's a lot to keep up with, but we definitely will talk about it. But I find it interesting because, again, it goes back to celebrity culture, in my opinion, and how a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't believe he did anything," or he didn't do, he didn't put her in the trunk and prune her from the timeline. But also, I don't know why everyone talks about SA, and particularly the SA of children, particularly the trafficking of children, and they find it to be heinous until their faves get caught up in it. Crickets? Of course. The same thing happened with R. Kelly. Everybody thought that all of this was heinous until R. Kelly and some of you all's faves got caught up in it. And then when it comes to when it comes to of minority girls, or when it comes to of women, of children of color, and when it comes to the of black children, everyone acts like that's par for the course. It's not par for the course when it comes to little Caucasian children. Then we get Lifetime episodes. One of the things that interests me about that whole case is the fact that she was reported missing, but people seem to know where she was. And we don't like to talk about the grooming of children by adults. We don't like to talk about that. We think it's okay until bodies show up. And you can fight me on that because that is the truth. Hmm. All right, so let's continue. As we go down social media, I'm going to pop back over here to Instagram. We got Candace Owens over here saying that she does not believe that the person that was arrested for the pruning from the timeline of Charlie Kirk is the actual pruner. She says here, I want to break this news immediately because it feels important. And I think if I don't break it immediately, something bad might happen. Who is she thinking something bad might happen to? Because one of the things about folks like Candace Owens, I believe that they're grifters. They grift off the black trauma and black pain. And they always want to talk about that. Now, she says that Charlie Kirk was her good dear friend, where she can get a good kiki with, but she wasn't at the funeral. Now, was that by design, or did they tell her not to show up? Hmm. She says here, I hope I have earned the trust enough of the people to believe me when I say that I have verified this information, but I can't reveal the source. She says Tyler Robinson is not suicidal. The entire narrative that was placed in the media about him having been suicidal is completely fictional, as are many other aspects of what we have been told. His father having turned him in after a confession is also complete fiction. She says, to the contrary, Tyler Robinson maintains his innocence and has never been to the UVU campus. This is from Instagram from yesterday, from TMZ. There are absolutely zero photos or videos that the campus can produce to the contrary, which is why they have produced nothing other than a blurry image with Tyler family knows it's not him. Remember in the news, they said that Tyler family called and said that I think that that is my son. Tyler never has once expressed a suicidal thought. I want to make that clear. The federal government is lying about absolutely everything other than the fact that it's his gun. Not that we needed further substantiation, but Tyler Robinson did not author those Discord messages. I would like to again stress that he has never been to UVU campus, but, and I need to confirm this later, I believe he was around the campus on that day. I will have more on this later, but I also wanted to immediately publish that Tyler Robinson is suicide narrative plus the dad that did the right thing after realizing his son was guilty is a federal concoction. Okay, Candace. Okay. Let's continue. Let's continue to move. I probably have. Oh, I didn't realize I was on here that long. Let me tell y'all something. No way in the world. No way in the world in this particular incident. There's no way in the world you're gonna pull me off a plane. What is going on? A belt of liquor doesn't count. Police in the UK hauled an intoxicated passenger off an international flight during a spat over an unfastened seatbelt, as seen in footage taken offline. You're not dragging me nowhere. You hear me? Nowhere. Again, not program content. This is quite impromptu. Let's continue. And I'm still in Instagram. Child. Look at this. They talk about putting his name, putting him on currency. We still waiting for Harriet Tubman. Y'all was supposed to be putting her on $20 bills, and I ain't seen her yet. And isn't this like, I'm gonna hold my commentary in regards to this, but there's a lot of stuff about this that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And like I said, I'm gonna hold my commentary to it because again, I want to when I make my when I talk about what I'm gonna talk about, I want to be able to cite my sources and everything like this. Congratulations to Rihanna. She just had her baby girl. Rihanna and ASAP Rocky's baby born in LA, certificates shown. We don't need to show that. But she had a baby on September 13th of this month. Congratulations to her and ASAP Rocky. She had been talking about wanting to have a daughter, and that has come through. I think the baby's name is Rocky Irish. And I can't think of what ASAP Rocky's real name is, but congratulations to them. So let me move because we've done X, we have done TikTok, we have done Instagram. Make sure any story that's going on that I haven't lost it. Are you all watching college football today? Who's your team? Who are you rooting for? Just to note that there are some college football games that are being showed on YouTube. So definitely go check those out. Looks like Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco have gotten married. Now, Blanco has also been tied to David. You know, we talked about him a little bit earlier, and that they have done some music or collaborated on some music together. And it was shown that Benny Blanco had been in the home of David, the one that he has since vacated. And lastly, we are definitely going to go through my TikTok. If there's a story that I'm gonna cover, then I'm definitely gonna cover. I think we've done a pretty good job. You know, versus the fact that I wasn't planning on coming on here. I just this was impromptu. There's not a story that yeah, I think so. I think we're pretty good. Again, I didn't realize I had gone over an hour. Again, be careful if you're living in cities like Washington D.C., Chicago, Memphis. At this point, and also I understand Portland, Oregon, they are sending the military to these particular places to tamp down on crime and stuff like that. So I want you all to be careful if you live in those cities. And also, let's go over this. Shout out to Torian Rain Reloaded. If you're not subscribed to him, please go get subscribed. Let's talk about real quickly the two Make America Great activists that went on the campus of an HBCU, Tennessee State University. And they set up camp to be able to talk about DEI needs to be abolished. And I can't think of the second topic that they were wanting to talk about. But they came on that campus. They had no permit, they had no permission. They sat up there, and shout out to the students that didn't get violent. They may have been a little upset, but they did not get violent, and they made sure those people were escorted off the campus. I just want to say this. You know, they wore their Make America Great Again. They wanting to debate and all of these different things. Let me be very clear with you all. If you are parents of children that attend HBCUs, if you are an alumni of HBCUs, if you are students of HBCUs, hear me and hear me well. These people are not coming to debate you in good faith. The one thing I do know about is that if you are Black American, and now I am not talking, and people get upset, I am not talking about those of you whose parents immigrated to the United States and then you were born here. In my opinion, you are a first generation American. You don't have any ties to chattel slavery for the enslaved. So hear me and hear me clearly. These people on the right, when they talk about MAGA, who believe in all of that, they are, in my opinion, are wanting to start a race war. So then they can blame you as Black Americans for the problems that are going on. They blame us for problems that are going on that we have nothing to do with. No Black American had anything to do with the pruning from the timeline of CK. Yet, 24 to 48 hours after that happened, 6 HBCUs had threats called in. Whether they were bomb threats or threats of a mob coming over, they had threats. Ain't nobody Black had anything to do with that. Then you have these 2 young people that go to the Tennessee State University campus claiming they didn't know that it was a HBCU. How did you not? You had completely a sign talking about DEI. And the second sign said, deport all illegals. Let me just show you what they had out there. These are these 2, and these are these signs. Never can understand that. Never can understand that. They want us as Black Americans to be the cause of everything. We're not the cause of everything. There hasn't been anybody that has been there has no been that many Black Americans that have been openly engaging with him. And so this is my message to those of you that attended HBCU, there's current students there. My message to you is go to class. You trying to get that degree. Don't let these 2 fools or people like him come to your campus and try to disrupt all of that. Because that is their goal. They are agents of chaos. If they are so worried about DEI, they need to talk to the white women that they're partnering with. They're the biggest recipients of DEI. Go talk to them. Go debate with them these topics. Leave Black folks out of it because we don't have nothing to do with we are not engaging in you all. We're not engaging you all. Stop coming to us to engage us. And then they use rhetoric like, oh, they rioted and they stole our stuff and they tried to turn over our car. That is not what was that. And kudos to you TSU students that live streamed it all, that debunked all of the information that they were talking about. Kudos to you. But again, as I am talking to you all as students, If you see them in your courtyard, if you see them on the quad, if you see them, whatever it is you call it, go to class. You don't have no time for that. Go to class. For those of you all that have family, that have friends, or if you are an alumni, you all need to be contacting your HBCUs. You need to express to them that you want the protocols in check so that these people they can come on the campus the proper way, and they need to be and the students need to understand not to engage them, because with no engagement there is no harassment and there is no controlling the narrative. If you are someone that goes to the HBCUs, I want you to now control the narrative. You need to be putting out there all of the wonderful things about HBCUs. Do your recruitment on the backs of this. And also beef up your security, particularly if you are an open campus. And what I mean by open campus, they don't have to go through a gate or a checkpoint to get on campus. There are things that are open campus. I think Howard University is an open campus. And if you go to Howard University, put it down in the chat and let me know if I'm not mistaken. Because I'm thinking that because they're in the DC area and there's not enough space and land and things like that, and they're in a particular area that they're in, there's a lot of housing and nothing, and people are walking back and forth. I think that is an open campus. I really do think that campuses in Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, Kentucky, North and South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Arkansas, those are at the top of my head that I can know what their HBCUs at. Y'all definitely need to make sure you're beefing up your security and also advising your kids via social media, because that's where you can be able to connect with them, to implore them not to engage, because all they're wanting to do is for one black man and one black woman to engage them in a very aggressive manner, and then the whole race is deemed aggressive and subhuman, three-fifths of a human, and all of that kind of good stuff. So and particularly, and also too, if you've got family members and if you are a student of a PWI, a predominantly white institution, I would tell you not to engage in them either. You got class. You got class. I wouldn't engage these types of folks. All right, people. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Like again, like I said, I didn't realize I was on this live for this long, but I just had an impromptu live where I was just going over little subtle issues and we just chatted. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Listen, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making my videos. Please look out for the video that I'm going to do on the singer David and the victim Celeste, Rivas Hernandez. I'm going to get my panel of people together and we're going to come and we're going to give y'all a good show. And I definitely will give you all notice when that comes out. I'm looking Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So it's going to be on one of those 2 days. So we're going to have a panel live and we're going to discuss this. All right, people. Tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. Wait a minute. Hold up. Leave that back. That's a Diddy reference. Bye bye.